When you think Disney, you think children, but even those who are young at heart are showing up this morning as the doors officially open to the Disney Aulani Resort at Aulani. Well, hey, Aulani Richardson has been there all morning long. She's live at the hotel. So I know the diehard fans are lining up. How big is that line, though?
Well, there's about 100 people here for the people who are going to be staying here, and some of them actually got here, Kenny, at 2 in the morning. I know it's totally crazy, but they just are diehard Disney fans. And of course, Chip and Dale are here, some of the other Disney characters. They've been learning to do all sort of Hawaiian things since they've been here. You know, Chip and Dale live in the forest, but they've decided to come to the Disney Aulani to learn a few things like surfing and other things, right, guys? Of course, we're going to be seeing maybe Mickey Mouse and Minnie are going to be making an appearance a little bit later. That'll be at 6:30, where the grand opening ceremony will be. And the doors behind me, right there where the Mailele is, will be untied, and those guests will be allowed in. Right behind me is the lobby, and that is a canoe. It's a canoe-like structure that shows like a canoe pavilion. Now, there are all sorts of things to do here at the Aulani, and even though there's a spa and it is for the adults, of course, the Disney Aulani Resort is all about the kids.
We've been able to create an experience that people of all ages can enjoy.
Though the Disney Aulani Resort at Ko'olina was built with the entire family in mind, there's no doubt it's a child's wonderland. A massive Menehune-themed bridge intertwines between water features, which lead around the Tombstone Curl Tube Ride and the volcanic vertical body slide. But the real treat is the isolated reef, providing protection for fish and smaller keiki.
It's a great time to get to see fish without having to worry about waves or surf or current. You just float around and look at the fish.
And if your kids are fans of Mickey and Minnie, tell them to keep their eyes open because the first couple of Disney may be by at any time.
Our Disney characters will be visiting Aulani just like many of our guests.
Back here live at Disney's Aulani, and joining me now is Tom Staggs. He's the chairman of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
It's really my pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Now, talk about the story of the Disney Aulani Resort.
Well, you know, this is something that we really started back in 2006 when we first walked this particular aina, and we've been at it since then. This is the first time that we've done a standalone destination resort. And as you mentioned in your last piece, the key then is to make sure that there's something for everyone. And we've tried to make sure that this is just that, from adult to child, and things for the family to do together.
What's really interesting, this was empty land a couple of years ago. I was here, and it's amazing that this resort is now here. And I haven't been able to see all of it because I know you guys are keeping it under wraps, but there is a taro patch or a lo'i, and inside it's like a canoe pavilion. You're actually trying to take visitors on an amazing experience, aren't you?
Well, you know, Disney for a long time has been all about storytelling. And there's this great storytelling and this great culture of Hawaii. And so we try to put the two together. So this is a place that I think will unfold for people over time. There are layer upon layer of story and adventure woven into the resort. So there's a tremendous amount of things to do here, but also a tremendous amount to discover. It's going to be really a lot of fun for our guests.
And I know you've overseen many other resort openings. You've got one in France, Hong Kong. What have you learned from those openings and brought those lessons here to Hawaii?
Well, as you can see, we've learned, A, to show up early because our guests like to get here and get in first. But really, we've actually spent the last couple of weeks with what we call test stays. I was actually here with my family, had a terrific time. But in that, we really learned just what's working best. We hone, we adjust. We try to make sure that we're really ready when our first guests get there to delight them and hopefully exceed their expectations.
One of the things that you had to adjust is some of the executives were let go and some of the costs were underestimated. What else did you do to correct that situation to make sure that Aulani opened on time?
Well, that was actually a separate situation and didn't have any impact at all on the product or what we were opening. So that's really separate and apart. The fact is that the effort here, the construction effort here, is something that we've been on a path for really 2.5 years, and having it all come together at the final moment is sort of the key thing. So there's a whole bunch of activity, a flurry of activity really behind the scenes leading up to this moment.
Well, Tom Staggs, Chairman, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And good luck with your opening this morning.
Thanks very much.
And that's the latest from the Disney Aulani Resort. Again, about 100 guests are waiting to come in line and wait for those doors to open. I did see one 5 little girl dressed as Minnie. So as you can tell, a lot of people excited about the opening this morning. Kenny, back to you.
Hey, Mahia, I'm sure when Sky watches Mommy on TV this morning, he's going to want to go to that resort later on. What do you think he'll be most excited to see over there?
You know, there are so many things to do here. I mean, of course, there's stuff for the adults. You've got the spa, you have a grand buffet, and then you have all sorts of cultural activities. There's hula dancing, there's the shows, and then you never know when Minnie and Mickey will make a sudden appearance, which I'm hoping they will very shortly. Kenny?
All right, we'll check back in with you in just a bit. Mahia Aulani Richardson.